Europe today on the day of action against TTIP and CETA. So give yourselves a round of applause and everybody else across Europe at the same time. Is that going to be any better? Yeah, fantastic. So, there are tens of thousands of people across Europe who are taking action today to say no to these absolutely outrageous trade deals being negotiated in secret between the European Commission and the US and the Canadian governments. And we're standing here in front of Parliament because it's our parliamentary representatives who are selling us down the water. All of the parties in there except one have said yes to TTIP. The Conservative government is pushing it for all it can. The Liberal Democrats are pushing it for all they can. And the Labour Party are also saying that they want it with a couple of little carve-outs to save their blushes. And we say no, we do not wish to have this type of outrageous deal. In the official assessment, not our figures, in their figures, they say that TTIP is going to cost at least 1 million jobs. At least 1 million jobs when unemployment are already at record levels in here in the EU and across in the USA. And we know that that will be a minimum. If they get the type of deal that they want to see, it's going to be 2 million jobs lost. How can they be doing that without any public scrutiny and then telling us that this is the best thing since sliced bread? Because if you believe them, there's an extra £10 billion for the British economy and there's an extra £500 for every family across Europe. Well, it's nonsense. We've told them it's nonsense. They've admitted it's nonsense, and they still come back with the same figures. The other things, TTIP, the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, it's not about trade. It's about deregulation. They have said quite explicitly that the point of these trade deals is no longer to remove tariffs, the border taxes between countries, because the tariffs between the European Union and the USA are already at rock bottom levels. Instead, the whole point of these negotiations is to get rid of the regulations, the standards, the rules and the rights that we have fought for over decades, but stop multinational corporations being able to make billions in profits. And they're taking aim at our environmental standards. They're taking aim at the food safety standards. They're taking aim at our labour rights. And they're taking aim at our digital privacy. So that all of the things that you thought you could do online are now going to be opened up for the internet service providers to spy on and report on. Every single one of our freedoms is under attack. But perhaps the most dangerous of all of these is there's going to be a living agreement, as they call it. So even if they manage to sign it without all of the worst bits in, because we fought back, they're setting up a regulatory cooperation council which will allow them for the future to do these deals with big business behind closed doors without anybody knowing about it. And that means in the future, if the UK government or if any of the European governments wish to introduce new laws, new rules, new regulations, raising the bar, raising standards, they won't be allowed to, because big business will say no, that is an impingement, that is a threat to our profits, and we will not let that happen. That's why we say TTIP is not democracy, it is a corporate theft. It's a corporate theft of our rights, and that's why we're saying no TTIP, no CETA, which is the Canadian agreement which they've already been negotiating for 5 years and say that they've now concluded, and also none of the other trade deals that are trying to slip these rights for big business through the back door. The good news is that we are winning and they are losing. Not just because there are tens of thousands of people out in the streets of Europe today, but also because they have already had to take out some of the most outrageous aspects of this deal. On chemicals, they've had to admit defeat. On the major new investor protection rights, they've had to step back, and they held a consultation which had 100 250,000 people saying no to the European Commission. We do not want these new rights and these new powers for corporations to sue us behind closed doors and cost billions of dollars for our basic policy choices. We will continue this fight. Many of us belong to the trade union movement, and the trade unions are out in force, in full and outright opposition to TTIP until we defeat it. And that's not just in this country, but it's across the whole of Europe. We're also all part of the environmental movement, also the social justice movement, the anti-fracking movement. Remember, today is also the global day against fracking, the global frackdown. And we know that TTIP is going to bring fracking absolutely to our doorsteps. It will no longer be possible for our elected governments to say no to fracking, because they will be sued just as the Canadian government is being sued by the American company Lone Pine. So this is a threat to our democracy. It's a threat to our environment. It's a threat to our labour standards. It's a threat to our food safety rules. In fact, whatever you like, basically is going to be threatened by TTIP. And I haven't even mentioned the public services side of it, because I think other people are going to come along and talk about that. So I'm going to leave you with this one thought. We managed to defeat them when they tried to introduce these rules the last time around. In the 1990s, they tried to put these rules in through the multilateral agreement on investment. And a massive movement, a massive worldwide movement defeated it. And they had to throw that out in 1998. They tried to bring it back again when they introduced it to the World Trade Organization. And again, a massive movement rose up against it, and we threw it out in 2004. This is their third time trying to bring back these new powers for big business. And once again, we will defeat them, because they have overdone what they think they can achieve. But we can only do this if we together stand up and say no to TTIP. And every single person in this room represents, in this square. It's like a room. Everybody in this square represents tens of thousands of other people up and down the country. We have other movements joining us saying no to TTIP. We must all continue the fight, going back into our constituencies, making this a toxic election issue for any party which says they will not oppose TTIP. And now I'm going to hand back to Mawson. We will fight and we will win. No TTIP, no TTIP, no CETA, and yes to the